What's going on, everybody? Mike McIntyre here from All Things Sports, bringing you a brand new video today. And today I want to go over my top upgrades that you can do to your entry-level road bike to improve its performance. So let's get into this brand new video. Alright guys, so before we begin, please take care of the following items. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit that bell notification so that you don't miss out on any brand new videos. The first thing that you can do, in my opinion, tires. Upgrade your tires. Now, I'm not going to be wasteful in the sense that if you go out and you buy a new road bike, you need to put new tires on right away. Use the tires that come with your bike. In my case, they came with 32mm basic Bontrager R3s, I think they were. Very decent tire. I put about 4,000 or 4,500 kilometers on them, and then I switched. So it's not like I'm just wasting the tire. I don't want you to throw money away. Use the tires that you have, but eventually that component will need to be replaced. When it's time to replace them, don't cheap out. Just spend the money, buy good tires. The reason I'm saying to do that is because this is one of the best value upgrades that you could possibly do to your road bike to improve its performance. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money, it's not a big cost up front, but the performance gains are really, really big. So I went to Continental GP5000s. I have nothing but positive things to say about them just because they have been that good. There was a noticeable 2 to 3 km/h average speed increase when I switched to these tires. The rolling resistance is far less. In terms of punctures, I think I've had like 2 punctures over 10,000 kilometers on a set of GP5000s. Spend the money, buy good tires, get some Continental GP5000s. It almost doesn't matter what width you get, 28, 30, 32s, get whatever you want. Wider tends to be better for the rough roads that we do ride on, so just spend the money, get some good tires. The second upgrade that you can do is one that I actually haven't done myself, but people constantly talk about it, is to upgrade your inner tubes. Now, I'm a fan of just a simple install, so I've just gone with butyl inner tubes because they're cheap, they're easy to replace if ever I need to, if I get a puncture and I need a new tube. The TPU or latex tubes are double or even triple the price of a butyl tube. However, they have shown to really decrease rolling resistance. Now, this is something I would be interested in trying, but again, the cost is 2 or 3 times more than just a simple butyl tube that you get for like $7 to $10. So the performance upgrade is there. I think you can do it. I just haven't done it myself. I do think it's an upgrade that in the grand scheme of things though, if you want to spend $20 to $30 per tube, it's not a big cost up front to increase performance compared to what you could spend on some of the other items. So that's the next upgrade that you could probably do. The third upgrade that you can do is to increase your comfort on the bike. If you are more comfortable on the bike, you are going to undoubtedly put out more power for longer because your body can withstand that I'll use the word punishment, if you will. Your body can just withstand the effort because you are more comfortable and you can sustain it for longer. Change your saddle if you are not getting on well with the saddle that came with your bike. Now, I rode mine for the first 2 years, the one that came with the bike, and it wasn't uncomfortable, and given that I hadn't tried anything else, I didn't really know what else was out there, but I was confident in the fact that I could potentially find even more comfort. Now, it took a while to try it. In my opinion, if you can go to a store and pick up a saddle and ride it indoors, put a little bit of tape on the rails. That way, if it doesn't work for you, you take the tape off and you can return the saddle and it's brand new. If you can ride it indoors, it allows you to test the saddle out without having to risk ruining it with dirt or mucking it up or anything like that. In my situation, I tried this over the winter months. I had the bike on the trainer, I went to the store, I looked at saddles, I tried a couple different ones out in the store, and then I bought 2 at the same time. I brought them home and I rode them on the trainer, and I was able to put on several hours on each saddle to figure out which one was more comfortable, and I returned the one that didn't work. In the end, I went with a Selle Italia Novus Boost in a narrower size than what came on my bike. It's been so much better for me than the saddle that originally came with this Trek de Money. It's a short nose saddle. It's a little bit narrower than the one that came on the bike, and I'm just a big fan of finding something that works for you. This is going to be very, very different for everybody, but if you can be more comfortable on the bike, you're going to be able to sustain a longer effort for more time, more power, more speed, and so on and so forth. So get yourself a saddle that works for you, be more comfortable on the bike, and I guarantee that you'll find a better increase in your performance. The next one is a big upgrade. It's a big cost up front, but it's very, very noticeable in multiple categories. So the next upgrade that you can make if you're really serious about the sport is upgrading your wheels. This is a huge cost up front, I'll admit it. The wheels I put on this bike right here, these are Hunt Carbon 50 discs. These are almost the same price as my whole bike when I bought it new. They're a little bit less, but not far off. And these are one of Hunt's entry-level carbon aero wheels, so you could spend more if you wanted to. They're much faster, they're much lighter than the stock wheels. You can feel that acceleration instantly. It holds speed so well. They're not sort of twitchy or anything like that in crosswinds. If you have a side wind coming on you from the side, you know, if you have some sort of crosswind, instead of it being twitchy, it actually helps sort of give you that sail effect and it helps push you along. So wheels are an absolutely massive upgrade that you can make to your bike. I am aware, however, that it is a big cost. So if you are serious about the sport and you're interested in a performance upgrade, I really think you should look at the wheels. The other good thing about wheels is once you have a pair like these, I would be very interested in keeping these on whichever bike I have next. This is not something that I would get rid of or, you know, pass along or something like that. On my next road bike, I'd be very, very willing to buy a frame set and a group set and put my own wheels on. Maybe you find a bike build that has wheels that are a little bit more entry level and you go for the component and frame you want and save a little bit of money that way and then just sell the wheels that came on the bike. So there are options available to you, but if you're interested in the sport, upgrading your wheels are a huge, huge upgrade, and it's something that really can't be understated. These have absolutely, completely changed the entry-level feel of this bike. The last upgrade that I want to go through is not one that you'll find a lot of people recommending in terms of an aero benefit because the cost is high, but I think there is a little bit more to it than that, and I'll tell you about what I did in my particular scenario. And I changed my handlebars recently, and I did this for a few reasons. One, I didn't mind the other handlebars, the original ones that came on the bike. I actually liked the shape of them quite well. I just wanted a different aesthetic to the bike. I wanted a slightly different look. As you can see, this bike here is what we would call semi-internal cable routing. So at the front end of the bike here, you can see that the cables are exposed, but they do run into the frame down the down tube, and they're hidden throughout the rest of the frame until we get to the rear components over here. On the original bike, the cables would run from the hoods. You would just run them underneath the aluminum handlebar, and the bar tape would keep them nice and clean up front. So you'd wrap the bar tape around the cables and they'd be exposed here. I was always a fan of the Specialized Roval handlebar. I just liked the way it looked. I liked the shape. I liked the geometry of it when comparing measurements, the reach angle, the drop, all of those measurements. I really liked it, and they were similar to my handlebar that I did get along well with. So I was interested in that Roval handlebar, but its cost was astronomical, which is one of the reasons why people would not necessarily recommend upgrading your handlebar. It's 450 bucks Canadian just for that carbon handlebar if you go for the Specialized one. So I was looking for alternatives. I had a friend that bought a carbon handlebar online, and I came across Temu recently, and they had this carbon handlebar here by this brand, Ekioso. I don't even know how they pronounce it. It's a carbon handlebar. Apparently it's made from T1000 carbon. I'm very skeptical on this, but that's what it says. This handlebar was basically 25% of the cost of the Specialized Roval handlebar with the exact same measurements, made from carbon, T1000 carbon apparently. Now, my biggest issue with this bar was I was very skeptical with how sturdy it was. I really didn't want it to break on me, obviously. That's my biggest concern. So I took it on a few test rides before I fitted the bar to the bike. I was really trying to stress it as best I could, trying to wiggle it around and put some stress through it to see how sturdy it was. It feels quite sturdy. I don't have the craziest amount of doubts around it anymore. I'm still careful with it just because I want it to be safe, obviously. That's the end goal here. But I decided to ride the bar for a couple of weeks, and it worked out quite well, and I really like the shape. I like the flat tops. You can't necessarily wrap your thumb and hands around it like this, but if you were to fit your hand around it like this, there's a nice plateau that you can rest the palm of your hand on. So riding in the tops is actually very, very comfortable. So long story short, I got along well with it, but I spent the time to fit the bar properly and then wrap new bar tape around it. So I've actually been able to run all of my cables through the handlebar, at least until they get to the exterior part here in the head tube, and then they run in through the bike where they need to go. So this was a huge job. It took me forever to fit the cables and run everything through them. I was able to replace my brake cables, my shifter cables at the same time, so I've made those component upgrades as I did this fit. I changed my bar tape, which is something that I would recommend doing pretty much on a yearly basis. There you have it. There's my top 5 upgrades that you can do to your entry-level road bike to really transform it into a performance bike. This is a very entry-level bike with some upgrades that I've managed to add to this over time. This is not something that I did in one season. As I got familiar with the sport, I obviously upgraded things as I went along. So that is what I would suggest doing to your bike if you're interested in taking that entry-level road bike, upping the performance over time. And the other thing that you could say with any of these upgrades is they're all components that I could keep should I wish to upgrade this bike in the future. I've kept the original wheels, I've kept the original saddle, handlebar, and all of that stuff. The only thing obviously I still don't have are the tires. I threw those away. But the saddle, the bars, the wheels are all components that I would take off of this bike and put onto a new one if ever I were to upgrade. And you could easily, you know, just sell this secondhand with the original parts or whatever it is, keep it as a trainer bike. They're just upgrades that I think are smart, that they're intelligent upgrades. They're ones that I think will improve the experience on the bike, improve the performance of the bike, but they're also things that you can keep should you wish to keep them if you were to move on to another bike. So that's it for today's video. This is Mike McIntyre signing off from All Things Sports. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you agree with these upgrades? Do you have any that I missed? Please let me know down below in the comment section, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Mike McIntyre, All Things Sports, signing off for now. Take care.